All right, I want you to watch a video. This is old. I found this, and this is with me and my Sifu, Syed Ahmad, out here in the Chicago area doing some reflex drills. And I'm being the good student. I'm feeding my Sifu energy in order for him to showcase his Wing Chun. And I want you to watch this. I want you to watch what I've had the blessings to learn over the last, oh dear Lord, it's almost 20 years. We don't train very much at all. It's been years since we've really gotten together, but he's been my Sifu for 16 years now. So you need to watch. He takes energy, he completely owns it, destroys it, and then finds an opening, manipulates. It's amazing. This was a damn pleasure to be a part of learning under him for years. And I'll always hype him up. His stuff has been fantastic. But I want you to watch. These are reflex drills. He's just taking energy. And we're going to come up on Chi Sao in a second. Again, this was the combatives that for years, when I first started learning Wing Chun, I started in 1996, I couldn't find it. I couldn't find this kind of destructive Wing Chun. It just wasn't being taught, or so I thought. And a lot of you know my lineage. A lot of you know that the background I came from, and we're going to get into discovering history again today. This is just some free-flowing energy. On Chi Sao purposes. Pressure on the wrist brings up the elbow. Pressure on the elbow brings up the wrist. A lot of that there. Again, find the center line. Boom. Oh, wait, did he just deviate off center line and go? Oh, you can't do that in Wing Chun, can you? Or can you? You're going to watch the openings. Oh, I love this. Watch, he's going to go right up the face. Just find that opening, attack. Feel sensitivity. Well, up the face. We love that movement. It's one of our favorites. Boom, boom, up the face. Gotta love it. Boom, boom, up that. That's Wing Chun. Closing the distance, attacking with elbows, strikes. It's absolutely fucking brilliant, and I love it. We're gonna watch at the close of this video. We're gonna watch how fast he just hauls off with sensitivity. Boom. All right, after this, watch this. Here we go. Watch this. Boom! That has got to be some of the most brilliant Wing Chun I've ever been at the receiving end of, which is why, I asked and he accepted me as a student. So big props to my Sifu Syed Ahmad out in the Chicago area. 100%, if you want to learn from him, you need to go get a hold of him. But how did I get there? How did I find that after years of training? It's important. You need to research your Wing Chun lineage and discover where you've gone from, where you're going to, and why. Now, I talk about my Wing Chun background all the time. I started in 1996. I found it by accident when I was working at the TGI Fridays. One of my coworkers, who was a bartender, his cousin was heavily into Wing Chun, and he would teach him and he would teach me. And I was like, this is the greatest fucking thing I've ever seen. I came from a wrestling background, and I was looking for something, and I'm on the shorter side. I'm 5'7", so nothing really appealed to me. I tried Shotokan karate for about 18 months. It was awesome. I did the Illinois Shotokan Karate program under John D. Pasquale. Sensei Pashadi, Liz Pashadi was my sensei. She was fucking amazing. The whole program was amazing, but I wasn't passionate about it. Really, I was like, whatever. And back then, you started watching the videos, the movies, like The Perfect Weapon with Jeff Speakman. Well, those videos that he did the movies he did were huge back then. We had Best of the Best. And Best of the Best too. And it's like, I'm like, yeah, I want to be able to do these flying kicks, and it was impractical. It was the days before of mixed martial arts, and I didn't have flexibility. Plus, I still had a wrestling mentality, and I still lifted very heavy weights. But I saw this Wing Chun, and I was like, this is incredible. So, as luck would have it, found my first Sifu, Danny Halligan. He's there in the middle, and all these were a bunch of cops, Bernie and Louie and Dan, and I got to be a part of the Iowa Wing Chun Association. Great guys. Loved training, and I was under Danny for about 4 years, and it was awesome. I learned what impressed me about Danny. You can see we're about the same height. The guy was brutal, fucking brutal. He had these awesome counters to me as a wrestler because his son was a wrestler. So he brought Wing Chun into the anti-grappling space, and immediately I went, this is This is the art I need to know. Plus, he hit like a fucking freight train. His hands were like vice grips. I was like, this, I need to know this. The best thing about Danny, and I've said this many times, is he would come out from Iowa once a month to train us. The guy made a 4-5 hour trek every week or once a week in Iowa, would come out. We'd do like a 4 or 5 hour training day with him. And it didn't matter. If you were only on the level of Tanda in a static position, that's what you trained. So the self-perfection aspect I got from Danny, the discipline. I mean, I was in my mid-20s when I started formal Wing Chun training, early to mid-20s. And it was like the normal people, being as an American, we don't have that the focus on discipline. So what I really appreciated was, here was a martial arts teacher that was like, no, you're going to do this and you're not going to learn anything until you do it. So if I'm doing chain punches 10,000 times, that's what it was. I got the best foundation from Danny Halligan in my Wing Chun because he made it so. And not a lot of teachers do that. A lot of students today leave and, well, all I'm doing is chain punching. You got to get the foundation first. That's why Wing Chun is such a very frustrating art to learn. But I still, under Danny, I didn't get that. What's this brutal Wing Chun? I keep hearing about it. I didn't get it from Danny, but it started me on the path for the foundation. And after Danny Halligan, I went under Sifu Phil Nearing. I was with him for about 4 years, both as a class and private student. It's probably 2 or 3 times a week, minimum private lessons. And I got a great education. And that led me all the way being able to train with Sam Kwok. So I've touched hands. That's a fucking lie. I got to be abused by Grandmaster Sam Kwok. And I'm very, very proud of the moment at the seminar where he used me as his training dummy, if you will. But I had a blessed career going into discovering the real Wing Chun as for applicable to me. And that's the whole point of where we're going with this. I've often said, and I've used this picture before as an example on stuff, you need to know what Wing Chun is. It's close quarter combat. It's fighting. It's aggressive, getting in and destroying your opponent. And this picture, which was taken, I mean, on accident years ago, is a highlighted demonstration of why, up until training with Syed, my Wing Chun was shit. It really was. I had the key components of discipline, structure, and energy, but I didn't fucking know how to put it together. And you need to be aware of tracing the steps for your own lineage if you're going to be going down your Wing Chun path, right? Look at this photo. Look at this picture. Look at my elbow in this futsal. Look at the distance. This is my shoulder is extended. Now I'm 5'7", Dan is 6 feet, I think, and Sam is 6 feet. But look at the extension. I'm overextending in a futsal because Phil Nearing at the time fell in love with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and he got into a mindset of, you need to be in a position of defense first. And he would call a position of safety to attack. So I would get my ass handed to me. Phil's class was heavily Chisao based all the time. We Chisao'd so much. I came from Danny, which is like, we never Chisao'd. What is this? To going to Phil was all Chisao. And I got so much good energy from it. One hard, one soft, understanding the difference between your waist and your hips, the fansao, continuation of strike. Phil did teach some incredibly brilliant stuff, but he didn't teach fighting. Phil taught Chisao, and I would get my ass handed to me because I Chisao'd from a position of defense, which is not Wing Chun. You attack, that's your defense, right? People use the example of in Wing Chun, with attack and defend with Tan Sao. That's what we use in demonstrations. Here comes a big sweeping hook punch. We attack and defend at the same time. When the overall fundamental principle and core concept of Wing Chun is, by attacking, you are defending. So this was the moment that Wing Chun changed for me. And honestly, this was the last time I ever trained with Phil. I was kicked out of his class 2 days after this because Phil had accused. I went to one more class. I massively improved because Sam did one thing. Sifu Kwok, in this photo, after it was taken, he kept Dan Shanahan and myself afterwards. Everyone went to lunch. He spent about 10, 15 minutes before we went to lunch together. And all he did was, he said, "You're too far away." he had us come in the proper distance, a fist and a half length away from body, and he did this incredible thing, which I was standing on the side, and he goes, sink. And I sank down, and I had to tuck my chin down, and Dan and I both went, oh my God. The subtle nature of tucking back just a short amount into my core, allowing that spring to load and tucking my chin down like boxers do, it opened up. It was like when Dan would throw a punch forward or an attack or a double box out or something, it was the $6 million man slowing down, and I could see the attack coming in. I sunk this much into my core, and the world opened up for me when it came to seeing and feeling and being able to respond properly to attacks in Wing Chun. That's why in my opinion, is one of the reasons that Sam Kwok is the best in Wing Chun as a totality representative we have right now, is because he sees these things that nobody else saw and is able to translate them and go, oh my God, it opened me up. So again, this was a path that I went down, and I got the reflexes and sensitivity, but this wasn't Wing Chun. And you need to see how we trained and how we cheese out and how it made sense back then that we didn't know what we were doing. Now, this is a great video of the Philip Nearing School of Wing Chun. He's in Chicago. Go train with him. I've got nothing really bad to say about him. We had a falling out almost 20 years ago, and that's it. He had a phenomenal, this is him with Grandmaster Sam Kwok. He had a phenomenal understanding of energy. The reflexes, the sensitivity. When you cheese out with Phil, it was fucking scary. Now, granted, I believe he was about 6'2". I'm 5'7". He had a reach on him. He's from Chicago. He's got the mindset for fighting. The man, he knows how to fight. He's got a fighter's attitude. He's got to be in his 70s by now. And at this point, he's still a dangerous man, and it's good. I've got my emotional shit, but at the same time, too, I learned so much from him. And here he is with Ip Ching. He's got the credentials to his name, but he never taught real Wing Chun. And this is something I'll fault him for, but at the same time, I'm glad he did, because it took my own journey to discover what real Wing Chun was for me. So watch these are just great examples. This is his training reel in his videos, and you can see him training. But right around here, this is when Phil deviated from the Wing Chun mindset. He met Carlson Gracie. He fell in love with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And again, they had a great marriage. This was a double impact seminar that Phil did with Carlson Gracie. I believe, I don't know where he's at now. I believe that Phil got his purple belt. He could be a black belt this time. I don't know. But he definitely, he trained with Carlson Gracie. How many of you can say that? And I know what we have to start looking into as time goes on is the concept of so many people want to brag about their Sifu being so close to the source. In about 20 years, you're not, maybe even 10 years, you're not going to get people who say, I trained under the guy who trained with Bruce Lee. I trained under the person who trained with Ip Chun. You're not going to hear that. You need to start looking at the valid credentials of people who are teaching and training today and their ability to bring Wing Chun into fighting context. Now, Bruce Lee, 135 pounds. Ip Chun, very small men. Me, 5'7", I stepped on the scale, it was 240 the other day, but I lift heavy friggin' weights. I'm on gear. I eat like I'm going to the electric chair. I have a different mindset for fighting in the Wing Chun application. So you have to start looking at, are the principles honored? Are the core concepts honored? And are they able to be translated for the individual for Wing Chun? What you need to watch, again, what I was taught and where my Wing Chun journey went to getting where it is today. This is Phil and Sam. This was after the seminar they did some energetics, and it was great. But we need to watch the class time. This is one example that I always point out. Now remember, Chi Sao, which is just a drill in Wing Chun, but we did it so much. And so many of you out there are doing it as if that's your Wing Chun. Look at the distance. This is Mike Zima. And look at the distance between Zima and Sifu Nearing versus what you guys see with like the Wang Sheng Liang lineage, or even the William Chung lineage, or any other lineage out there. Look at how far reaching the distance is. And you'll see in this movement, Under Phil, we did a lot of what's called compass stepping. He got that from Ip Chun. We didn't shift. We stepped into our opponents. Watch Phil right here as he just barrels into Zima with techniques. It's really not Wing Chun. It's just feeling the pressure and taking advantage of it. Barreling in, no footwork. It's just barreling in, reaching and stepping, reaching and stepping, reaching and stepping. The upper body sensitivity is great, but it's not accompanied with proper footwork in Wing Chun. What Phil is confident over is you're not going to take him down successfully because at the time he was a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu purple belt, a blue belt or purple belt, I believe. So he didn't have to worry about the footwork negating. But if we're going to teach Wing Chun at its core, we have to be aware of the takedown threats that are out there. Again, we did a lot of what's called palm on. You can see right here, we didn't do true Fuchsaus under Phil. This is called palm on. And we would press our palm into somebody, into a core position, and you'll see a lot of that, in his rolling when he wound up rolling. And we're going to get back to that in a second. Here he's doing with Sam, he's doing the same damn thing. So we didn't do a true palm on, palm on. Yeah, you just see a lot of control, but it was a lot of barreling in. A lot of barreling in. This is where my Wing Chun started for this. And again, now watch this. This is Zima with another classmate. Look at the distance. It's not aggressive Wing Chun. All the time I got under Phil, I got this starvation for aggression in Wing Chun. Where was it? Where was the fast? Where was the brutal? Where was the aggressive? Where was the dominating, eating the space and destroying the fuck out of my opponent? Where was it? We didn't have it. Watch this Chi Sao. This is extension of Chi Sao, and it's a lot of gotcha, tag, I got you. Boom. Here we didn't have it under Phil. And I don't know if he still teaches today, but this was, you have to be in, and this is his wife, Sharon. I believe she's a very decorated Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighter or player or whatever they call them. She's extremely skilled in that. I think back when I was still training, she competed in some world's event. She won. She's a great martial artist. But again, look at the height distance. You can't talk about having distance in Wing Chun and being in a position of safety first and then attacking. You'll get your ass kicked. But that's what we learned. We learned to play it very safe in Wing Chun, and then you just got your shit kicked out of you, and it was sad. We didn't get the Wing Chun we needed under Phil. But how did I get it? Where did it come from? Sifu Syed can't be that special, can he? We need to talk about the commonality of lineages and how some of you truly today are probably closer to learning Wing Chun from the purer, more combative sources than you know. And it's just going to take a little bit of research out there because most people don't like to highlight their brotherhood, cousinhood, or association of Wing Chun, right? So keep that in mind. But before we get to that, don't forget, starting the first Tuesday of July, the first Tuesday of every month, we are doing the Great Martial Arts Training Hall. I don't care what you're involved in, Taekwondo, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Eskrima, Capoeira, wrestling. We're coming together for speakers, for training, for advocating for our passionate martial arts. Go to Izzo Wing Chun on Patreon. Become a member today. There's also private training with me available. You're getting a more exclusive connection to me on patreon.com. And we are starting to bridge the gap of the culture of all of our loved martial arts out there and moving forward in the next several years in a much more brotherhood type of way. Patreon, Izzo Wing Chun. Hope to see you there. All right, so this is the part of a documentary that was featuring a man named Simon Lau, Sifu Simon Lau. And we're going to take a look at something because we have to connect all the dots. How is somebody saying, I've got real Wing Chun, I've got this, I've got that? And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to plant a seed into your mind to get you to think outside of the box of just whatever's in your dojo, your kun, whatever it is, and to let you know that we're all part of a big fucking family, and Wing Chun is Wing Chun, but everybody's got their view. As much as I got from Phil, I will never see the lens of Wing Chun through a man who's over 6 feet tall. We'll never do it. I'll never see it through a man who's got Wing Chun, then Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, then Wing Chun. It will always be wrestling, lifting weights, wrestling, Wing Chun. But I got it. And I'm glad for the journey, and you need to express yours too and discover yours. But let's take a look at this together because there are some faces I bet you didn't know were involved.
In London, Master Simon Lau has taken over the top floor of an old church to teach the Wing Chun style. His approach is very different to Master Chan's.
Now, we need to check something out there for a second, because I heard a rumor. That this tall gentleman over here is somebody that some of you may know. Now, the best I could show is from somebody else's YouTube channel, and I could show that that's Simon Lau right here. And this person here, I believe, is the person in the video. Here's Simon Lau here, and here's the person training with him. It's Grandmaster Steve Lee Swift. Now, watching Grandmaster Steve Lee Swift, you're going to see something that's very interesting. He's pretty fucking fast. It's just ironic his name is Swift, but he's explosive. Watch his Wing Chun. Watch this go. I saw this years ago, and I was impressed as hell. And I was like, there's a lot of massively aggressive, explosive Wing Chun in his delivery. I love his position. I love you could see the energy he has built up from his stance, going right into, it's impressive. This is just great. Now, with all this explosiveness, with all this aggression, with all this attack Wing Chun, how could I find out about it? Well, it's because I was told about it from Phil, who's here on the left, and his Sifu, Sam Kwok. But before Grandmaster Sam Kwok was Phil's Sifu, Steve Lee Swift was. You see what I'm talking about? You have to really dig into the lineage. And this was just something that, you know, I complained about over the years, but I had to find the discovery on my own. How could Phil go from an explosive, quick, swift, if you will, methodology of violent attacking Wing Chun into a more harmonious Chi Sao that was based off of energetics, which I'm glad I got. Syed didn't have that. I did. And it incorporated far much more into the flow of my anti-grappling concepts for wrestling and Wing Chun. But how did he get it? That's because his path deviated. He left Steve Lee Swift, and he went under Grandmaster Sam Kwok. And then at the time, he met Carlson Gracie, and his journey took him into discovering the bonds and relationships between the foundations and concepts of Wing Chun's and other avenues. It is what it is. When we talk about this as well, too, don't forget, I've talked about this many times. Under Steve Lee Swift, Phil's classmate was a man named Dave Jeglin. Dave Jeglin was, or is, still Syed's Sifu. So you see these 6 degrees of separation? You had two men, Dave and Phil, who had the exact same training and the exact same aggression under Steve Lee Swift, who came from under Simon Lau, and as they separated, one had more of the knowledge of fighting and explosive combatives of Wing Chun, Syed, and one had the energetics and foundation under a more kind of soft approach that was accompanied by the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu love foundation, which was me. You have to discover where your path comes from when it comes to learning your own Wing Chun. Now, you might be closer to training under that lineage of Simon Lau and Steve Lee Swift than you think. And I'm going to give him all the praise in the world because he's one of my favorite Wing Chun people. He's somebody extremely close to my heart. I consider him a close friend. We've never met, but he has mentored me and he has brothered me in the Wing Chun system. And that's Sifu Justin Ock out of Lakeland, Florida. Guess what? Justin Ock, Sifu Ock, was Steve Lee Swift's top student. And some could argue that Justin took his Wing Chun to a different whole new level. And that's probably because, too, in my opinion, shorter guys, because Justin is he's a little bit taller than I am. Steve Lee Swift is tall like Phil is. When you are as short as we are, you have to discover a massive level of violence for close quarter combat. And Sifu Wok did that. So if you're thinking, man, I would love to get in this Simon Lau and this Steve Lee Swift and this is, guess what? One of the biggest names in Florida, Sifu Justin Ock, comes from my lineage. Now, if we return to the documentary and take a look, let's look at some other face that you may notice from this.
There is no doubt that Wing Chun is focused on training fighters. Compared to other styles, the techniques are direct and obviously powerful. Master Lau has only recently opened his school. None of the students shown here...
You need to take a look and look at even in their chi sao. Their chi sao is done for a purpose, for drilling, but look at the explosive, violent nature of this chi sao. It's fantastic. Again, in my first two Sifus, I was not getting this. I was getting foundation and energy. I wasn't getting the application. Watch this.
Training fighters. Compared to other styles, the techniques are direct and obviously powerful. Master Lau has only recently opened his school. None of the students shown here has had more than 1 year's training. It's a style that the enthusiastic student can become effective in very quickly.
Why does that guy look so familiar? Wait a second. Why do I know this guy? Oh, wait. If he looks familiar, it's because he's still teaching today. He's Sifu James Sinclair. He's been in Wing Chun for a long time. He's clearly one of the best of representatives of our martial art, and he's put in the work. Wait a second. He came from the Simon Lau. He's related to you in your martial arts journey. I can't believe it, but it's not possible that I could be studying under his lineage, is it? That's probably what you're thinking to yourself, because this is an older guy who's got to be in his late 60s, early 70s as well, too. He's never touched on anything you've done before, or has he? Now, let's take a look at a short clip from a video that features a much younger Sifu James Sinclair, and let's see if you notice something that I knew a long time ago.
To earn a living is to be honest to your students, and the idea is to get your students as good as possible. My dream is to make my students better than myself. Of course, every instructor, any coach in any field would want that. At the end of the day...
Which I agree with, and it's for a different fundamental reason. If you're teaching, make your students better than you. If you make them better than you, that means that they're always going to be chasing you, right? They're always going to want to kick your ass. Well, if they improve, you have to improve. So the better you make your students, give your students all your tricks, teach them all your cheat codes, if you will. I used to teach Matt all the time. This is how you beat me. A lot of people who train with me know this is how you beat me. I'll tell you, because if I give you the secrets how to beat me, it means I got to find new tricks, new ways to wind up staying on top. It is a brilliant way to always stay in great fighting shape. But let's take a look at something.
They're very, very talented. You've seen my senior student, Mark Phillips, just basically giving me a hard...
I'm sorry, what did you just say?
They're very, very talented. You've seen my senior student, Mark Phillips, just basically giving me a hard session against this tree here.
Wait.
You've seen him sparring with me and working with me. He's a very talented martial art, amazing martial art control. He covers most of the sort of like North London area now and teaches there, and he's actually doing...
Why does that guy look so familiar? Where have I seen him before? Holy shit, it's Sifu Master Mark Phillips of Fight Science on YouTube. A very, very, very large, near million follower YouTube channel based out of Wing Chun that he had from decades ago. So you see my point? Some of you are absolutely learning under the same lineage when you're all doing a pissing contest of who's got the real Wing Chun. You just got to take a look at how far back your family tree goes if the teachers that you are involved with are willing to give you that information. But back to this documentary. I want you to watch what I came full circle to getting, right? I saw Wing Chun as this explosive martial art. I didn't get it. I got the energetics, which I did not appreciate at the time until I learned the explosive from my Sifu, Syed Ahmad, and I found that it traced back to our particular lineage of Simon Lau. This is one of the most ruthless, brutal Wing Chuns out there, and I'm just blessed to be a part of this lineage.
Wing Chun originated in southern China, but it has been developed over the last century in the narrow alleys and back streets of Hong Kong. Its techniques concentrate on lightning-fast bursts of close-quarters combat.
Brutal, absolutely brutal, which is what we were missing from today's current martial art training, especially in Wing Chun.
More or less like soft and hard, mix them together. Soft power and hard power mixed together. And you don't have to
Most Wing Chun focuses way too much on the soft of the energy, not the hard power. You get people like Sifu Klaus Brand who are bringing back going, it's not possible to relax in a fight, in a real fight. Your body's automatic nervous response system is going to go into fight or flight. You're either going to fight back or shit yourself. It's as simple as that. So you want to learn how to fight, and you want to learn to adopt the aggressive, brutal fighting of Wing Chun. I loved even seeing these videos, and this has got to be from the 70s, of the drills, even in the energetics. Watch how they punch.
And the students are taught to keep their hands relaxed and unclenched for all but the moment of contact.
A little bit faster. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let it go.
Yes.
Out faster, yeah? Try once again.
You could see in the movements of the explosiveness in this Wing Chun. It's not a Chi Sao school. They knew how to use Wing Chun for fighting explosive, aggressive tactics. And again, a lot of you are faced on, you want the Ip Man lineage, you want from Ip Ching, Ip Chun, and I respect that like crazy. When I first got into it, that's what I strove for. It's like, oh my gosh, I thought the only people who got to touch hands with, you know, one of the Ip Man's sons, they were the real Wing Chun. They're great on Chi Sao. They really are. Touch hands with them, you're going to be blown away like it's a fucking magic trick that you just could not see, feel, or interpret coming. But I wanted the fighting. I wanted the fighting. And again, I fell into it by the grace of God going down the path of this way to discovering that my lineage through my Sifu goes back along the parallel of my former Sifu before him to a true fighting Wing Chun system. The training is brilliant. It's a lost art. We don't teach this way anymore. And it's just awesome to see that it's still out there. You just got to find it.
There are no concessions to the women that study here. They're expected to stand up to the sparring with the male students in preparation for actual fighting conditions. Wing Chun was the Kung Fu style.
On every level, it's just fucking awesome. So ultimately speaking, what I've embraced over the last several years is my Wing Chun journey and how it got here, and the layers upon layers of just teachings and books I had to read before YouTube was a thing, and all the and then when YouTube came on, the research of just why is that person's stance different? Why do they have different weight distribution on their feet? Why is this? And I was so obsessed with Wing Chun that you could stick someone in front of me and have them do a reflex drill or a Chi Sao technique, and I would be like, oh, you come from William Chung. Oh, you come from Ip Ching. Oh, you're from Ip Chun. You know, I could tell the brothers' difference on that. Oh, you're definitely Young Ting. It blows me away how beautiful the art is, but how many people, myself included, don't get me wrong, I'm not shitting on your lineage, have focused on the wrong aspects of Wing Chun. Remember, I want to bring Wing Chun to what it is. Fighting. Brutal. Ruthless. Aggressive. Violent. Ugly. beyond devastating. I love more snake, less crane. That's where I am at. That's my journey. Maybe in my 70s, it'll be more crane and less snake. But for right now, in my 50s, my Wing Chun is more snake, more aggression, and a lot more violence. And you have to think about this if you're exploring your journey and you're somebody who has been so tainted by the Wing Chun lifestyle, the community, the bullshit, the MMA defeating records, all this shit. Somewhere, and it could be in one of these videos, is somebody that your Sifu trained under and not even he knew it. The point of it is you need to really, really, really dig deep into your Wing Chun lineage and your background and start falling into the research aspect of this art and trace your family tree back. Find who you're connected to, who your cousins are, who your Kung Fu brothers are, and really, really discover this art and research it for itself. This was just a fun lineage route I wanted to go into today to look at, to say, hey, you and I may be closer, more closely related than you think. Maybe you saw, maybe this guy is your Sifu and you're like, holy crap, I didn't know him. So it's an awesome small world in this art. Stop being so hung up on, oh, I trained with Ip Ching, I trained with Ip Chun, I trained under so-and-so. It doesn't matter. Everybody has cross-pissed in the trough together at one point or another, and it's what makes this art beautiful. Hope that makes sense. Guys, train hard. I'll see you on the next video. Go to Izzo Wing Chun on Patreon, and I'll see you on the first Tuesday of the month starting July for the Great Martial Arts Training Hall. See you guys soon. Have a great damn day.